Bye, y'all. So, we've moved on to A Court of Mist and Fury, and we've decided to split it up into 3 parts. So, the video might not be that long, but prepare to be sitting for a minute for the meat and potatoes, because that bitch is thick. How are we gonna start this?
I think we just jump right in.
Okay,
I'm,
so
it's
I mean,
popular enough.
right, it starts 3 months. Well, it's been 3 months since Under the Mountain. This is my first note. 2 months since Tamlin proposed. That means this man waited a month, if my math is mathing, to propose to her after all this traumatic shit happened under this mountain, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, but
Okay.
he kind of had no option. If I were to get my ass almost killed for you, I would kind of expect a ring. Like, I'd be a little put out if I didn't get one.
Yeah, but like, it's not even. Okay, well, maybe it's just me reading. The way I read it, it's not like I absolutely love you. Da, da, da. She's getting a ring, but she's not getting, like, I don't know how to explain it. Let me think here.
I probably should have prefaced this with like, I've been engaged 3 times, so I will say yes to anything and just like see where it goes.
Right? Same. So, I mean, but
So
I've
I just would
never
have
fallen through
expected
with
it.
any of those wigs for a reason.
Same. Same.
But I get it. I just feel like she's got so much shit going on right now. Like, why is the
Yeah.
wedding so important? Why does it have to happen? How is it going to bring peace and all these other good things? But then there's other things that Feyre just wants to. She wants to help out around the village and stuff, but that's seen as a negative. I didn't like that, because why wouldn't
Mhm.
it just be like a moment of like hope? You usually see those things being propped up there as a symbol of hope and shit. So she did all that, but then it's like, oh, well, you remind them of their time under the mountain. Bitch, she fucking was under there too. Bear
Right.
gets my sympathy just a bit, because everyone just pushes her feelings and everything to, like, figure it out on her own when she's clearly not doing well with it.
She is struggling. And I also like that was my first note is that she went from like killing that fucking Midgard worm, which is like a dune level worm, to just not being allowed to go outside to the village because like
Yeah.
she's delicate all of a sudden.
Yeah,
That
I
I did
just
not
didn't.
like.
No, I mean, she didn't make it out of there alive, technically.
Right.
But she is now faster and stronger. But Tamlin
Yeah.
just still sees her as that human that got its neck snapped, okay?
Yeah.
I just don't think that's fair. And she
To
even
be fair, I
acknowledges
guess
that and
he
yells
did
at her
watch
for
her
it.
like he did watch her get murdered in front
Yeah,
of himself. But still,
right.
I don't know.
Well, you see, I can understand it. I just don't like it.
Mhm.
I don't think. Yeah, I'll accept it. I just don't like it. Um,
I'm also annoyed that we don't like hear about the proposal. Like we're told he proposes, but there's no like
in the what?
real recap, just some wildflower Glen
Yeah,
thing, and then they like bang, but no
it just
no real recap of the scene.
no, because the focus is more on just like how
The
miserable
trauma.
Farah is there. Like, she's just miserable.
The trauma that just constantly goes.
Yeah. And then, like,
Uh
it's Farah's point of view, so of course it's gonna be more tailored to her. But I would love to have known what was Tamlin's, like, POV. Maybe I could be a little more sympathetic to him, but ultimately I got so many orange tabs because I'm just fucking annoyed with him.
a lot of characters, especially in this part one, that I realize I just hate. Because like we meet Anthe, who knows, the priestess.
I call her
Um,
Ianthe. That's why I
yeah,
thought it was Ianthe.
and all I can picture every time she's on the page is like the Pope. This the way she's described and what she's wearing. I just picture like the Pope walking around.
I'm thinking of the nun.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, only like a younger, attractive one. The way they describe her.
It was like her dress when it was going on and on about that. I'm like, just put the fucking hat on while you're at it, girl. Like, wear the whole thing.
The hood.
Get your little Pope mobile out. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like her. I have bad feelings before I even read the rest of it. But see,
Mhm.
so okay, I need to say like TikTok ruined shit for me, and I I got the spoil that something happens. Tamlin betrays Feyre, but I didn't know what it was. And my traumatized ass seen Ianthe come into the picture, and I'm like, oh, he fucking her, or something of that sort. Like even if he's actually under a spell or whatever, that's gonna be the betrayal. And then you find out,
Mhm.
I guess, what the actual betrayal is, and I'm like, oh, well, this is it. But rereading that shit was heartbreaking, kind of, to hear how Pharaoh was reacting to being a prisoner, basically.
Yeah. I was like he treated her better than Farah. Like he listens to Ianthe's opinions and like she's allowed to come and go, but Farah's just like this pretty little doll that goes from room to room with like no room to contribute to anything.
Right. She has no joy. She doesn't know what to do with it. She
Nothing.
lost her purpose. When I was finishing the section, that's what I realized is she just needed a purpose, something to give her a reason to keep going. She wasn't
Right.
finding any enjoyment out of just being a little housewife, which I understand. Okay, not
I
everybody
also
does.
think she needs some therapy because I was rereading this and I don't think like on page 17 it goes into her whole like I can't see red. That color just triggers her. But I don't think she ever tells Tamlin that.
Right? No, I don't. That's another thing. They don't ever fucking actually talk about it. Like, it's hinted that they
Anything.
haven't really talked about it. So, why are you getting married? Y'all are not going to be able to put a little bow on it. Your problems are still going to be there. And then they're going to
Yeah.
be worse. I,
Yeah.
that was.
They're as bad as like half of the 90 or the Love is Blind weddings that happen. Like
It's just it's so stupid. Don't do that. Don't get married. And like you gotta. She starts just slowly resenting the guy, and I mean, no wonder she said no. I'm sorry. I'm just uh that part was just annoying because
Mhm.
it spread out over so many chapters of why they should not be together. That it makes it very clear that they're gonna get married. It might not be a happy marriage. It's just that simple.
It's
I was not seeing
so
it.
many things. Like even on page 18, like they laugh at her wedding dress together. And I'm like, guys, that's not a good sign. Like
No.
you see your bride in your wedding dress and your first instinct is to laugh and be like, damn, you look dumb. Like that's not a good sign.
Literally, I'm looking at the page and I have two sticky notes. This should have been a red flag. Why are they getting married?
Huge red flag. Like, but then it's another time where she doesn't say like, yeah, I hate this dress. She's just like, haha, let's go with it, I guess. Like,
No, they. I got really like in my own beliefs about marriage, so I was like, no, they need to be an equal team. They need to. Even if he thought it looked goofy and she didn't want to wear the dress, he should have said no. She ain't gotta wear it. And I don't like Anthony because of that shit with the flowers. Okay, whatever. I think it's a bit ridiculous that any shade of red like has Fair completely
triggers her. She's
spiraling.
done.
She's done.
Brings her
Like
to
what is
her
going
fucking
on?
knees.
But Anthony did her so dirty because you heard her say no red. Like that she told Anthony no red. And then this bitch put
Mm-hmm.
red out there.
Right?
It,
If
it,
anyone's the abusive boyfriend, it's Ianthe right
yeah,
there. She knew about the red.
this was Ianthe's fucking wedding, and even I thought Farah had even realized it at some point. I was like, oh yeah, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
They even have their own like separate bedrooms, which I think is very weird.
right? Why would you need that? It's too. I don't know what's regional. I don't know. It doesn't feel personal. It doesn't feel like they like each other. I don't know how to explain it
Yeah.
other than that.
There's always constantly like something between them, whether it's like a wall or a conversation that doesn't happen. Like there's always a boundary between them.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then like Tamlin will always pick his court, I think, or he's gonna pick Feyre, but he has like this sense of like I gotta do my duty no matter what. It just it I don't know how to explain it. It just makes me so angry.
It's because he's a 1950s husband. He like he wants Farah, but only if she's like not even only. He wants her absolutely, but she has to behave certain ways.
Well, yeah, I remember marking something was like he's more worried about rumors and the persona of being a forefront than actually worrying about being a forefront or like a unit.
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's a problem too. Just like the stupid he wouldn't let her train because he could. So at first he couldn't fucking protect her, and then it's now, oh, I have my powers back, I can protect you, you don't need to protect yourself, kind of bullshit. But again, what actual downfall would it be other to have her not fucking train? Train her ass. It would bring him probably a little more comfort to be like, oh, she actually has herself. But no, instead it's supposed to be like a negative thing, and I don't understand why would it be a negative thing. Because
Right?
then war might happen, or it's a sign of hard time. Again, you have a badass
I don't even
leader.
get that. Right? Even in like regular terms, what if someone breaks into your house? Like
Thank
just
you.
she should know how to fight.
It
Yeah.
just the author, she really just wanted us to understand. No, not these two. She built
I
up the
just
first book to have us like, oh, Tamlin, they're gonna have a happily ever after. They're gonna be able to come through everything. He might be a bitch, but it'd be all right. And then this first half of the book is just complete like drag him down. He is shit.
I feel
We
like
don't
this is a
like
really good
him.
time to plug my TED Talk about character assassination. It's like
Yes, that's
because
exactly what it felt like.
I don't feel like he was this douchey in the first book. Like there were some red flags there about how like keeping people safe was his main jam, but he was not this douchey. And now he should be feeling stronger. He's got his powers back. Like he's so hyper vigilant about the I don't know if seeing Tara or Farrah's neck snap just really fucking broke this guy, but I don't know. He was not this bad. I didn't think. He
No,
was
I
like
didn't
your
think he
high
was
school
either.
boyfriend you'll grow apart from.
Right, I defended him fairly well in the first book, even though all the flags were there. I was like, okay, they might be pink. Then this
I
book
think
happened, and I'm like, them bitches are fucking red. Why are you not triggered, Farrah? Why are you not panicking?
they're just both of them are so high school to me. Like she never tells him what's wrong. He always tells her you got to sit inside. It's not working. The vibes are off now.
Yeah, it's just so bad. And oh my god, it's just so bad. And I hate it because I
It's
want to know what would it could have been different if they had just communicated.
I think if she hadn't died, it would have been better. My whole theory on Tamlin is like her dying just fucked him up. And
Maybe.
like that's when she has a complete mental breakdown in the last book. That's when she like just no longer really acts like herself. Maybe if she didn't have to stab him in the heart, maybe they could have made it, but
Maybe, I don't know. But the
um mhm.
it's just so disappointing. I don't know.
It's, it is. It is. It's the death of a dream. Like, um but the wedding is probably like my favorite. No, there's so many favorite scenes. I can't even say that. It's the first of one of my favorite scenes. Just like I feel so bad for Tamlin because he's up there and so excited and has no idea what's going on. And she's just having a meltdown because of these little red and white flower petals. And like she's just fucking losing it. Like thinking all the terrible intrusive thoughts that you can think. And then out of nowhere to him, like to Tamlin, Rhysand shows up to just fuck the whole thing up. That kills me.
I think it was great actually, because like she sat there and she begged everyone or someone, anyone, come get her, and this man could have window like silently misted in, nonchalantly swipe her. No, he had to make a show of it and drop down in like Thor,
Right?
thunder and shit. And he was like, "Hello, fair darling." I don't know why I went
Right?
like that way with it, but yeah, I thought it was so freaking awesome.
And like
And
from her point of view, it makes sense because like in her head, she's screaming out like "Help me! Help me! Help me!" But no one else there can hear that, and they're all just like, "Why isn't she walking down the aisle? Kind of weird." And then all of a sudden, Rhys is there, like, "Hey guys, how's
right.
it going?"
And then of course he has to give fucking Tamlin some shit about like, oh well Feyre surely thought so. That it was
Oh my
over.
god, yes, that is so rude.
But I wanted to know, okay, so this whole tattoo bond thing, right?
Hmm.
There she knows that it's some kind of like connection, like the tingling in the wall, and even like one of the nights that she's sitting there puking her guts out, she looks at it and it like she swears that it blinked or something of the sort. So I wonder
Hmm.
if she maybe thought, what if I did? Would he hear it?
Oh, I think she knew. Oh, I think she totally knew.
I think so too. Because
I
I mean,
think it
she
was like
said,
her Hail Mary. She was like, "What do I have left to lose?"
and
Like, because he hasn't shown up for 3 months. The whole time she's been back, he hasn't called in his bargain.
and those first few pages before he actually showed up, she does mention him. I
Hmm.
know foreshadowing when I see it, damn it. There is only one way this man is going to make a comeback, and he is going to make a dramatic ass scene. And then he talks about, who was it? I think he said Tamlin was the one being dramatic. I was like, dude, you're not the one to be talking.
Right? I feel like that whole day was just a nightmare for Tamlin. Like, he doesn't know any of this shit's going on. He's watching her walk towards him, a little uncomfortable because she's taking her sweet ass time. And then, like, his nightmare happens. Rusan shows up. I was like, "I'm taking your bitch for a little bit. Bye." And just leaves. Like, the trauma that this guy goes through
He
is
let
so
him
awful.
though. He let him because he. I think he was
He
gonna
has
always
to.
let him to. Well, okay, so they do say something about like what's gonna happen if the bargain's broken or whatever. What happens? Because I don't know what. I've never seen anything
Oh,
to say what's gonna happen. I guess that's just
I
off
have,
the table. We don't even need to know what's gonna happen if you break a bargain.
yeah, the author is super bad at just like never really filling in some lore spots and over any of her books. Like there's this theme of you can't break the magics or the promises, but she never ever does give you an example of what happens if you do. It's just bad.
That's
we
good to
just
know.
we just have to trust that you can't do
You get a
it.
hangnail. That's what happens. I seen one theory that doesn't. I guess it's about like a Reese's knee tattoos.
Hmm.
There was a theory going around that I guess that bargain got broken or whatever, and that's why his knees hurt every so often. I don't know. I only seen it for 2 seconds because I didn't want it to actually spoil anything because they were about to explain it.
No, he
But
broke his knee in the war.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, that just debunks that. Throw that in the trash. I was like, oh, if I just got some achy knees, and okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Bye.
I think the best she ever says is basically if you break a bond, the equivalent in like bad juju will happen. So I don't know. To me, I think that like if she didn't go with him, maybe she'd lose a week off her life for how many months she doesn't go. I don't know. No one will ever know.
Damn. Okay, that sounds a little more severe. But I mean,
I
I
feel
don't.
like it's got to be bad because Tamlin would lose his shit and grab her like 100%.
What do you mean? Oh, if
if like there was an option for her to not go, I feel like that guy's PTSD would have him like
Like, absolutely
wrapped
not.
around her.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. He wasn't very impressive under the fucking mountain, so.
He had to play it cool.
Well, he doesn't have to play it cool now. I mean, the second time Reese comes and gets her, yeah, he's a little more. But he just lets it go. But obviously, it becomes apparent why, and that shit pissed me off too. They just didn't want me to
Also,
like him by the end of it.
I also think like that first time she goes with him, she's not actually scared to go with Reese. She just doesn't want to be trapped under a mountain again.
No. Her biggest
Like at
fear
no
is
point.
going back and having to answer for just dipping.
Yeah. So true.
That
That would
awkward
be
ass, I
so
left you at the
awkward.
altar, but so
Right?
I'm back.
I am like a confrontational person, but I need it to be handled immediately. If there was a week-long build-up, I don't think I'd go back. I feel like, how do
No,
I look at you and be like,
absolutely not. Maybe 3 months. Be like, oh yeah, hey.
I
But
was just like, oh my
no.
god, I got stuck. How have you been?
Right.
What were we doing before I left? I don't even remember. So weird.
Uh, what was it?
I do love that, like, the first moment they get together, Reese takes those gloves off that were hiding her little
Oh,
tattoo.
yes. Yeah. That whole conversation's bookmarked.
That whole scene. Oh my god,
Yeah.
their chemistry
Oh,
is
that's
so much
so
better.
great. Right? But that was like the most emotion she's shown in a minute. That's not like makes you want
Yeah.
to cry with her.
Right? I think I wrote, like, she finally comes back to life a little bit.
Yes, that's why I said he ignites a fire in her and gets her
Mhm.
to just have any kind of emotion, some kind of
And
reaction.
he wakes up all the time with her nightmares, which I was like, thank you! Because Tamlin's just pretending they don't fucking happen down the hall. Like,
Yeah, that shit. I made a note of it. I was like, notice how every time Tamlin wakes up, she wakes up with him and is comforting him. But when she's waking up, this motherfucker's pretending to be asleep. But
right? Or just
in his
curled at her feet
defense,
like a dog.
right? But in his defense, she says she's I don't know. This is probably why people are like women because she says she's okay with it, and the fact he doesn't. But I don't think she really is okay with it deep
Oh
down.
no.
I'm gonna say it because I wouldn't. I'd pretend like I was, but that's just fucking denial. That's
And
settling for less.
honestly, we have to acknowledge that this is where Farah's stomach becomes like another character in this novel. Because from here on out, we are well acquainted with her guts and her bowels, like till the series ends.
Do we really?
Oh wait, all the time she's vomiting or her bowels are going watery. Like this is the beginning of the end for her guts.
So I've been
Girl needs
trying
some
to.
yogurt.
I know. I know about the throwing up, but I haven't seen any watery bowels yet. I'm doing a counter for every time it's mentioned.
Oh
Maybe I'm
man,
just
once it
overlooking it
starts,
though.
that and there's another word too that it's too much. There's too much, but
Oh no. So I mean, she just cries a lot. She's just sad.
yeah.
But then the
She's
fire ignites in her, and the first thing I was like, he's blah blah blah. The way he taps on the hand and everything, the sass in that, and I was like, oh. And then she tells him to get out of his head, and he said, likewise. I was like, oh. It was just me
right?
screwing most of the time. And then the part where she throws the fucking shoe at his head, I have that entire
Yes.
shit paragraph or
Both of them. She
down.
throws one and then the other.
Yeah,
Like
because
she's like,
he hit
fuck
her
you
with
guys.
the I dare you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, dare me. Let me.
Right.
I'm that person. You say I won't. Okay, I will.
I mean, I
Yeah,
died because they're silk, so like what's the damage gonna be here, Farah? But I love the spunk.
yeah.
Like
It's the effort. It's
Mhm.
interesting.
And he just like notices so much more about her. Like he
It's because
notices
of
she
the.
lost weight.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, he definitely knows the. You say that, and I think instantly of that second time he shows up to get her. The way he had all. Whew.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he
Yeah.
does. But see, the way it's explained, or the way I picked it up, it was he knows so much because of that bond thing there. They're like
Hmm.
connected. I started
The bargain.
developing yeah, the bargain.
Uh-huh.
I started my theories. My note says this is where I started having theories on this bond. In quotations.
This is where I started judging Farah for not having theories about this. Because,
Right.
like, how's a tattoo eavesdropping on your head, girl? Come on. Like,
Right. Like, it just seems a little too soul connecting for it to just be because we made a trade.
mm.
But, I mean, and
Um,
she doesn't know of
then we
this
meet
world,
my
so.
other character that I just can't stand, which
Who?
is Moore.
Why don't you like more?
She is so boring to me. I just immediately loves Farah, and that's all great, but she is boring. Like,
Yeah, she's the Alice from Twilight.
oh yes!
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes!
That's
That
how
is a
I
good.
see her.
I liked Alice though. Alice was at least like useful in Twilight.
Half the time. Half.
I thought you were really mad about my Alice analogy,
No.
but Alice was useful. I stand by that. More
Yeah.
is just like, ugh, she's here.
Yeah, Alice's visions only worked half the time, is what I was saying.
Well, the future is hard to predict. Okay.
Okay, that's not even the hard part. We're gonna have to talk about it on stream, but that's not it. Okay, back to the book we are reading. I didn't see a problem with more. There are some theories, like, I don't know, like, again, TikTok is just like following me in the reading journey. So after I got done, like, when I started reading Silver Mist, yeah, Silver Flames.
Silver Flames. I was
I
like,
know
Silver
Silver
Mist.
Mist.
What?
I keep doing that. I keep combining Mist and Fury with
Silver
Silver Flame.
Mist.
Yes. I don't know why, but his brain is not working very well. Uh, I started getting theories on more and everything. So now that I'm going back reading it, I'm like, how? How do you have these theories? But I'll bring those up when we get close to it.
I'm still laughing at Silver Mist. I'm so sorry.
Silver Mist is a
Silver Mist.
Disney fairy. She's a water fairy. Yes. I know
When
them.
we get to that book, we're calling it Silver Mist. That's it. People will just have to figure it out.
What was I getting to on here?
I skipped quite a bit after this for notes because it's just kind of like Rhysand being, a
Charming.
great guy. He's teaching her to
Yep.
read. Yeah,
Oh, that's
he's,
something too.
supporting her.
With the I don't know if I mentioned it, like with the first one where Tamlin had offered to help her write those letters. And then Rhysand was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm going to teach you to write." And I know it's like a big TikTok conversation of like, Tamlin was gonna do the writing for her, so she'd always have to be reliant on him. But I don't see that because we don't know if Tamlin was saying he was going to write it for her. He just said, "I can help you." It was Feyre who had
Yeah.
already assumed that, well, maybe I should have let him write it for me, because this bitch didn't want to write. Like, she didn't want to learn and all this other shit at that time. So when
Right.
Rhys comes around and is like, "I'm going to teach you," simple as put, and she kind of just accepts it because it was almost her demise in the fucking trials. So
Right? Like,
circumvent.
she still doesn't seem like she wants to learn. She's just kind of being told to do it. And she's like, okay,
It gives
I've
me
got
something to
nothing
do.
better to
Yeah.
do.
And that's
And
what
then,
she says the next time she comes back after um I think it was her second trip. She literally said, he makes a comment about how she was practicing, and she's like, I had nothing else to do. She had.
Right? And I don't think Tamlin would have oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think he would have like been this nefarious guy who wants to write all of her letters because he's the one who's like, oh, there's no such thing as high ladies. Like he's not intending for her to hide like her ability to write and to always have to go through him because he just doesn't even plan on her taking on that role. She wouldn't have to write anything in his little view of their future.
Yeah. That's just no way to live.
Gatekeeping. He's not gatekeeping. That's
Right. It's like, I don't know. Feyre didn't completely change. But before she was human, yeah, maybe she did want to just chill the fuck out after having to survive so long. But now she's just
yeah.
put through the worst in her eyes, and like now she's like, that doesn't do it for me. I can't paint. God forbid there be a fucking red in there. God forbid. She can't, because Feyre paints based on her experiences and everything. She has no really
hmm
good experiences right now. But it would do her good if she did, I think. Girl, get in there.
Draw it out. Leave it all on the paper, Farah.
Even if it's just like
Light
a
that shit
black
on fire when you're
swirl.
done.
Yes, it could be very stupid. Yes. But yeah, I'll defend. There's that little thing discussion I had seen, and I was like, no, this is how it is. Thank you very much. Calm down. Tamlin got assassin in this part, okay, but he wasn't
He
a
did.
horrible person in the first book. So let's not get a little biased now that we've got a shadow daddy hiding in the corner, okay? Calm down.
Right? It's just, this is like a great example of like people can come into your life and they're great for that time, and maybe there's no longevity there. Like, I
Right.
do think he was great for her, like when she just needed to chill out and stop like being in charge of everyone's survival.
Oh yeah. Shit. Well, see, she goes. She has the thought processing and the realization that I kind of had when I was reading it about how he came into her life at the time, and well, it's a part of part two though. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now they're
Zip it.
just different people. They have changed. That's what happens in life. You go through some shit and you have a different outlook. You're no longer the same
Right?
person beforehand. I think
And if
that's
you're not going to connect with your partner, like all the conversations that don't happen between them, all the like having separate rooms and having these separate lives, like you guys are encouraging your own breakup at this point.
yeah, that just doesn't sound. Maybe it works for some people, and maybe it's just my biases, my personal feelings, but I don't see how that would work. It
Mm-mm.
would be not a thing. At that point, you're fucking roommates.
Right? And they're
So,
not doing it to save rent because he's rich. So what's the point?
right. Oh,
um, and then Reese keeps on being a shadow daddy. He gives us more lore about the whole war that's like coming with Highburn.
yeah, that's like Tamlin shelters her so much from just basic information, but here is Rasan just giving her all the information. Like he's written more favorable shit than Tamlin is, so the odds were stacked in his favor.
I love though that when he presents this to her, her first thought is like, please don't invade. Like she's just ready to blame him. Like that part just killed me because he's been so open and like you should learn how to read. And sure, like there's a little bit of antagonistic bits to their relationship, but like they're good. They went under the mountain together. He was gonna help her at the end. He helped bring her back to life. And he's telling her about wars, and she's like, "Oh my god, don't slaughter my family, please."
Why is your
This
first
girl
thought
is
it's
0 to
horrible?
100.
Y'all literally left on amicable like grounds, and now you're seeing him again, and you're like, oh, he's gonna murder people.
He just gave you breakfast, girl.
He's telling you all
Made
this
sure she had her
information.
tea.
He's
Right?
including you like you're a normal person.
Yeah. And she's just like, man, he's gonna fuck my family up. I know it. Like,
Yeah, but you can obviously tell it bothers him, like that she sees him that way.
right? And then he also gives us the little bit that there can be high ladies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oof. My whole thing with that though is she doesn't even seem like she wants it.
No, she told Tamlin that she couldn't imagine everyone calling her that,
Yeah.
or
And like
handle it. So
I think shortly after she goes back to the spring court, like one of her fears is that Tamlin's gonna give her a crown or something. And it turns out to be like a different gift, but she's like, "Oh my God, don't be a crown. Like I don't couldn't handle that." But
it's not a crown, but then you get some fucking pains, and then you're like,
right.
death. Death of the life has no meaning. I don't know, but and it's already
Yeah.
because like we've already spent the first half of Tamlin making decisions, like big and small, for her, and
hmm
Roseanne's automatically giving her the choice on things. Obviously, she
hmm
don't get the choice on whether or not she goes home right this second, but you have the choice
Right.
to be, well, I just kept thinking like Rysand is the reader, or at least he was me reading, because he came in, he started saying every little thought and criticisms and I had in my head. He was saying, I'm like, yes, bud, get her.
He is kind of presented as this like perfect guy, especially with the reading thing. Like we're all reading books. We love readers, and he's like, "I'm going to teach you to read." And then there's the tea. I was like, "Oh my God, of course I read my books with tea." He's getting her tea. Like he's a strong feminist woman. This guy,
He's an ally to us. Yeah.
right?
Love it.
He's letting her make decisions. She doesn't know what the fuck she's gonna do, but he's letting her make them anyways. Like he's supporting this train wreck.
All right. Builds her like self-esteem back up. Again,
Yeah, and he
ignites that
even
fire to survive, to
a
be
fire.
something.
And he lets her eavesdrop on him and more when I forget what happened there. Oh, an attack on some temple.
Oh yeah, it was deja vu.
Yeah.
Like when Lucian and she eavesdropped in Lucian, and they're like, "Oh, this girl's just so sneaky, just peeking around the corner." That I can't say nothing because that is me to a T. I used
Just
to do that
lurking.
all the time. Yes, I am a big lurker. I support the lurkers. Lurk all you want, honey. Okay. A view still counts, so leave me and my lurking ass alone. But no, as a kid, I used to do that with my mom. I would just hide and listen into conversation I wasn't supposed to. So,
God. I
yeah.
still do that.
I
I do that at work with, and like, I have things I need to be doing. I have no excuse, but sometimes I'll see like housekeeping huddled together somewhere, and all of a sudden that's when I gotta pull my meds that I don't have to give out for 2 hours because like they're talking by the machine. So I just like,
right.
that's how I found out all the hot tea about how their manager was shit at scheduling and was like probably seeing this other housekeeping staff because she got all her vacation approved, but she's only been working there. She's got the least seniority out of everyone. And I was like, the fuck is going on?
I'm telling you, I don't have coworkers now really anymore. I work by myself in the bakery.
Oh my God. I love that shit. I could not work independently. Like, I can't have people bossing me around, so it's good I have the job I have. But I need all that little drama. There's
Oh,
portering things, like when our porters come and they're all pissed off because so and so down at X-ray was mean to them. I'm like, oh my God, tell me about it. I need to know.
right. don't know. My friends have lives, so they just like dump it on me, and I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. Thank you. And it's great because, like, who am I going to tell? I don't know.
Right?
I'm not
You
even
get to be
going to
involved.
remember it 5 minutes after the conversation's gone. My brain, fish, gold brain, god darn. It's just like absolutely out the window. I don't even remember what we talked about.
That is the best drama when you just get to hear it. Like, you're not involved, no one's coming at you, but like you know everything.
Right, I like other people's drama. Big fan. Not for me though. But oh goodness, Rissan's here. The way he lets you choose. Oh, his little sentences. I want to know because
Oh,
we find out why it's important for her to read and learn those things, I guess. But like, how do these words, particular, the handsome, delightful, cunning, how do those words
right.
benefit what is gonna be a thing later
It
in the book?
reminded me. It reminded me so much of when I got in trouble as a kid and my parents used to make us write lines.
God,
It was
yes.
just like one sentence over and over, like, I will not backtalk. I will not
Yes,
backtalk.
I
I
will
will
not be
not backtalk.
sassy.
Right? Just like 3 pages of the same thing. And I was like, I'm so triggered by this, Rusan. You're no longer my shadow daddy.
That's the first thing I thought about when I seen that shit.
Constant. I will not lie. I will not hit my brothers. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it.
Look, my mom would give us like 10 at a time. So we would have one phrase that we had to write like 100 times, and then she'd give us another one, and we'd have to write it 100 times. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh,
It became a
my parents
whole
did
soup.
pages.
Oh no.
I had binders of just like, I will not hit my brother. I will
I
not call my brother this.
and it was college
And each
board
one,
paper. Like the thinnest that said so many fucking lines.
I kept the line, and my mom was so mad when she found them. She's
Why
like,
would
what are you
you?
doing with these? I'm like, I don't know, it's my trophy. Like, you made me sit at the kitchen table and write these. I'm proud of what I've done here. I've got a whole binder tracking back all the shit I've done.
No, I
Like,
guess that's the effed up part because then after you do them, they would crinkle them up and just throw them in the trash. And I'm like, what
oh, my
the
parents
hell?
put them on the fridge.
Oh no.
They were up there. So every time you went in that fridge, you had to look at your lines. And then I would just like wait till my parents were paying attention or didn't care anymore. And I'd snatch them and put them in a binder. And then I'd like bring them to school and show my friends, be like, look at what I had to write. And then
You're
like it just
so
became
hard.
this joke because I literally had a binder full of shit. Like, it was
Okay.
wild. My friends are like, you should write like a story about this. I was like, this is the story. I'm working on it.
Okay. It's just one line per page.
I was such a spiteful kid. Like,
Huh.
I
It's
wanted to,
in my
my
heart.
initial plan when I was a child was to keep these and then gift them to my parents for Christmas one time.
Every time they do
But then I got
something on the
scared.
line, type it up and give it to them. Like, catch them in a lie, give them the ones that say, I will not lie, I will not lie.
Right?
But yeah, I didn't. That was a funny thing. Like, I didn't understand what those words had to do with fucking anything. And then we get our first glimpse into her powers.
The last thing I heard was that her powers didn't manifest till after like his first visit. And I totally like, yeah. I missed that, but it also makes a lot of sense.
How? Well, they are her
Because he's like
emotionally driven.
bringing her back to life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, no,
And
I
she
was
is
answering it as
like
soon as I asked it, and I was like, well,
emotionally pretty fucking dead.
yeah. I kept writing, she's a shell of herself. Where is her? Where, like, she's just not there, going through the motions.
Right? Any personality, any fight, like it's all gone until
And
she
then
kind of goes to his little night court.
yeah, and then after she goes there, and even when she goes back, then she's starting to be a little more like herself, putting her foot down, demanding things, and
Mm-hmm.
It don't last long though.
Mhm. I also just think like it's so apparent when she first comes back, and then Tamlin's obviously excited she's back and not hurt and blah blah blah. But then he very quickly moves on to being like, I need to know everything. Like I need to know layout of the court, what that guy's doing. Like it turns into this interrogation instead of like, oh my God, you're back and you're safe. Let's have a cuddle, sort
I
of thing.
know. Gets back and she's like, let's just fuck, basically. In my opinion, she was already pawning at him, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, wait, I gotta ask you some questions. And
Literally licked his teeth at one point.
oh my, I did
Like she
not
was
catch
trying
that.
hard to distract. Yeah. She slid her tongue against his teeth, and he was like, okay, hold on. While
Wait a
it's fresh in
minute.
your mind, let's talk about some stuff.
And then
Right?
the infuriating thing about it is like she just does, right? She loves the man. She's just gonna tell him everything,
Yeah.
but he's not answering any of her questions. Like it's just not a fair
Mm-hmm.
exchange.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
And then he just shoots her down. Where
Hmm.
as soon as she starts inquiring about her powers and stuff, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Back to the oh, you can't fucking train anymore, or at
Can't
all.
train. People might know. Which I feel like if they don't know that she can kick some ass at this point, like that's on them and that's Darwinism if they try anything. Like she freed all of you. People understand that she can handle a weapon.
You
Like,
underestimated her, bro.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then the tea
Oh yeah.
comes,
My only thought
which
to
was
that
like
stupid. Stupid. Like
right? He's
Tamlin's
literally
like
so rich.
why? Yeah, and I think that's what Feyre dealt with is she just kept thinking of her like human life because she still wants to be connected to it to some degree, and she just thinks when that water wraith comes in there and was like, we have no food. She just
Hmm.
basically thought of her sisters and everything. My issue is this man talked about how it's always been like this, just like my
Hmm.
father and one day my kids. And I'm like, sir, I thought in the first book, you didn't want to rule like your daddy, so why are you acting like him?
Okay.
Like, why do we still have these
And this is
ancient ass
part
things?
2 of my TED Talk of the character assassination. Because he didn't want to do all this stuff. But like, I think the author just wants us to be like really aware that this is not working out between them. Like, all of a
Fair.
sudden, he's just like, yeah, my dad did it 100% the best way. We're going to do that. I'm going to teach my kids how to do that. Like,
Yeah, that was not fair at all. It's just poor Tamlin in this.
it's just... And then even after, like, he does that, she helps out that fairy, the water wraith. She gives her, like, what, a necklace or something? And it's, like, enough to pay her
Her
debt and
entire
have some
jewelry she
food.
has on right now, her earrings, her rings, her necklace, all of it.
Also, what is she doing wearing all of that? A whole ceremony where you have to give stuff away to your rich lord. Like, that's not when I would be showing up in my best costume, you
Those
know?
are the royalties that would have gotten their heads chopped off during who was it? The let
Right?
them eat cake era? Yeah,
This is a
no.
Marie Antoinette situation.
For real.
I was like, that is so, like, thank God, because you paid for that water wraith, but also awkward. Those people are giving you like half their year's worth, and you're just like, yeah, I'm rich. I'm sat here. This sucks for you guys, but I'm still rich.
Yeah.
Like,
And I don't understand why it would show weakness. And they kept saying it's weak. But it's just kindness and not technically. It just
yeah,
shows you like the
yeah.
difference atmosphere that's going to be in the spring court to the night court.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
then he also, when they're back together at the mansion, is like admits that he was wrong
what do you mean?
a little bit. It's a little bit later. I think it's page 98. But he says that you were right. I don't understand what it's like to be starving. Like he admits that that's probably not the best way to go about ruling his court.
Oh yeah, Because then that's when he gives her the paint sets to say sorry, and
Yeah.
that shit had me triggered.
The paint set.
No, the blowing up and being a dickwad and then giving the gifts
Oh,
to
yeah.
say sorry kind of thing. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, by your affection, by your apology. Because then shortly after that, doesn't she says something about how she might not be able to marry him, and he fucking goes ballistic.
Oh no, she says that like with all the restrictions he's putting on her that she's drowning.
Yeah,
And the
and
more that you do, like the more guards, you might as well be shoving my head under the water. Which they
yeah,
obviously haven't been to therapy because you're not supposed to speak that triggering. You're supposed to say, I feel. I'm just kidding. But
you're
instead
being a
she's like,
little
fuck you,
cute.
you're drowning me. But
Right?
yeah, and that's when he like just loses it and everything shatters.
Yeah, yeah, that was yeah. And
Yeah.
then like
Which is
that.
bad. That is Tamlin makes it hard to defend him at this point. Because like if you would have just walked away, then she's the crazy one at this point. But instead you blew up the whole study and all your paints, and now we've got red paint on the walls and Feyre's gonna start puking, you know?
Right? It's the last thing she remembers looking at too.
Right. But I feel like also this is just like this is a couple that knows how to push each other's buttons. Like all he wants to do is keep her safe, and the first thing she comes out hitting with is like, "You're the one killing me," sort of thing. Like they know how to piss each other off.
I don't think she was trying to though.
Oh,
I think she was trying to just like tell him what's going on, and it just I don't know, maybe he Uno reversed it and be like, I'm so sorry, it's on me, I'm the bad, kind of like a reverse psychology nonsense of like, I'm the bad guy, no, you're fine, you're okay, I understand.
mhm.
The fair is just a little what's the word? Too submissive at this point.
Yeah. And then they just go back to like sex, basically. That's how these two make up. That's how they do anything, is
Yep.
just touch is their love language or whatever. Um,
Yeah, because I wrote this is not gonna work. Because he goes, please give me one more time. Let me get through this, please. Um, where the fuck was it? Where he was basically maybe that is it.
I think, yeah,
I
I
thought
think
where
it's
he was
shortly after
just
he
like,
blows
let's
everything
just
up.
forget. Yeah, let's forget. Let's move. Just move past it. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is y'all's
Oh,
motherfucking
yeah.
problem, though. Is y'all are
Because
not
he can't
dealing with
control it. The
anything.
rage.
Oh my god,
Hmm
yeah. A man with anger issues. What? To forget it on if you don't get that shit under control and learn to compromise with her. This is not gonna work.
Right. I also think his gift of paints just shows how like much they've grown apart too. Because even though we know red is like an issue, she's also not made one of her corny lines about cataloging colors, you know, like she's not noticing any of that stuff anymore. And her knee jerk is just like, here's a new paint kit, try again. Like they're so far apart by this point.
Well, I think he was trying to get her to paint again. Like, I think he did notice that
Hmm
she isn't. And he was hoping that he can get her to paint so that way she'll be contempt. But he's failing to
Right?
realize that painting is not what she wants to do. It's not bringing her happy. She can't bring herself to do it right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
you see that.
Uh,
And then
And
he was.
then she's back to the night court.
Is she? Oh, yeah. Because they're in bed when the Rhysand shows back up a few days
Yeah.
after the explosion.
And she almost runs out there naked. So,
I
like, I don't care what she says. She was excited to get back out there because it took her halfway across that room to realize she should throw some clothes on.
and then she just grabs a blanket.
Right? Right?
And even when she does look out there and realize who it is, it's not like she ducks back in and like, oh, let me go put some clothes on real quick. No, Rhysand had to tell her, get dressed. This man did
Right?
not enjoy seeing her in just a blanket. He was livid. I don't know. He can feel And since things through the bond,
Oh yeah.
is it only
Yeah.
negative emotions? I'm
I don't
just
think so.
curious. I mean, so he would obviously know, if so, what just occurred, what he is interrupting in the middle of the fucking night. Is
Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. I know. Yeah. Whew.
it?
I think that gets brought up later.
Oh, maybe.
But I don't think till like the third book. I think there's a reference to it.
Oh, when they're sharing the inn somewhere
Maybe.
around there, maybe.
Maybe.
The one that... Okay. We'll get to that point when we get to that point, then, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think her and Tamlin stopped sleeping together shortly after her first visit to the Night Court. And like,
No, they are still getting it on.
oh wait, yeah, that's how they
Yeah,
made up.
it's
Never
not until
mind.
the
It's after
end.
this visit.
Yeah, at the end of this, or like
Yeah.
at the start of the next one. That
Yeah.
relationship's just dead, okay?
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there struggling, trying to figure out what did Tamlin do, and I was like, oh, that's what he did. And then I got to the
Oh
end of
my
this book, and I was like, that's what he fucking did. That's
God.
why.
Yeah.
Okay. It all started making sense. The Tamlin hate.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love Reese's parting shot to Tamlin
I
just
have
before he
everything
whisks
I
her
want.
away.
Yes. My sticky
He's
note
such
says,
a
I bet
douche.
you do. He's such.
It's such a douche move. I love it.
Oh.
It's so shady.
And then, like, when
And then
she
she's
gets
like
back.
immediately alive when she gets back with him. She's already like being sassy and being like, why don't you just look inside my head? Like, where is this with Tamlin?
Tamlin can't look inside her head, okay?
Right?
If so, maybe a
Yes.
lot of these problems wouldn't exist.
He might actually know that red makes her upset. Like, you
Yes.
never know.
Know that she's lost the will to live. Know how close to he's actually, or how close he is to actually losing her.
Right?
It just,
Yeah.
yeah, that was not fair to him. Again, he had a disadvantage.
Severe. I found this visit so sad though, because she really just kind of hides.
Yeah, it becomes very apparent that.
Right? And by this point, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till they're together again. And she just spends that week hanging alone. And like she even realizes it because she's the one who says, like, I'm in a free fall with no end
Mm-hmm.
since like I stabbed the Fey youth in the heart. I'm like, oh, that's so sad. And then even Reese's drop off to her is just like, fight it. Like, okay, bye.
Oh yeah, what else do
Mhm.
I have? Good. And then as soon as she gets back, fucking Tamlin, because Tamlin made that promise to like loosen up the reins after he exploded, and she had her first display of actual power with the wind cycle thingy.
Mhm.
Um, Instantly, right back to having the reins tighter on her.
Mhm.
That
And
pissed
like
me.
way worse than they were before.
Right. Like, I don't know why he's gonna keep coming. He's gonna keep taking her.
Right? It's almost like it's so ominous because like each month he's gonna take her away. So how are you gonna escalate this each month?
Well, he won't have to know because shortly fucking after he locks her up. And she's like, bye.
Yeah. That's literally her worst nightmare.
Right? And she literally felt like she was back under the mountain again.
Yeah. And also kind of crazy because like she can open the window and a breeze can come in, but she can't go out. Like that would fuck me up. I would feel so trapped, and I haven't been trapped under a mountain or in jail. Like,
Yeah, that would have been rough. Yeah, it is rough, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
And it's just temporary, though, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
But then Alice, our homegirl Alice, helps more get her out.
Yeah, and there's a part in there that was like it had to be done by the books. I don't
Hmm.
know, maybe it's just cuz I haven't reread that far into knowing what the books were, but I was curious what what's by the books. Why couldn't he just step in there and get her? What makes more able to do that?
Oh, it's because I think he explains it like in that next chapter, maybe. Or very soon after, but it's basically like oh no, it is the next chapter. Like he can't go in and do it because then it would like basically cause a internal war between the two courts, but more because she's not the leader of the night court could go in there, break the whole shield and bring her out, which I don't really get because Moore is
Right.
pretty high up there in authority, but whatever. I'm gonna just believe whatever this author tells me to.
I don't know.
Sure. I think like too between the tensions between Tamlin and Rhys, it would probably be a lot worse if Rhys did it, but we're told it's because of this he doesn't want to start an internal war.
No.
She gets to go to the city of Starlight after that.
I know. And he's like,
And
you
then it's
can't
the
fucking go back if you come with me. Like, so at that point, she just accepted she's not going back at all.
right?
There should not be
Yeah.
any kind of like, when I do go back to him, no, stop. Just stop, because you're
Yeah.
not going back. You've done decided that by going to the city of Starlight.
Yeah, and for someone who was not making decisions, like she came to that pretty quick. She's like, "Don't leave me behind. I want to go out and see the city. Let's do it."
Right. She was like, I'm over it. At least girl knows that that was the end, and she was like, I'm not going back. She didn't just keep going. Like, well, maybe making up more and more excuses for him because that shit was pissing me off. Like, that's why I'm a little pissy with her. It's because you're making excuses for him as well, ma'am.
Hmm. Yeah, she let it go on for way too long.
Right.
Especially for a girl who like I just can't believe she's the same girl who literally brought down Hybern's like notorious warlord. I guess like whatever Tamlin did. But she's the reason Tamlin got his powers back. But she can't just tell Tamlin like, you're kind of being a douche, man.
Right. Speak up. Why do you keep shoving your own feelings and your own like down? You don't like this, so speak up. Well, he's got a lot on his plate right now. Fuck him. Speak up.
Right?
Oh,
Especially when she can speak up to Reese like a second later.
right. I don't get
Yeah.
it. It doesn't make no fucking sense.
I am so excited for part two though.
I know. I'm
Actually,
starting to
part
read
three is
again.
my favorite. No, part two. I don't know.
Right. The
A whole book.
was it House of Wind when we get to spend some great bit of time in the night court. See what kind of shenanigans Feyre gets into there.
Yeah. Yes. And then part three. No, but I think part two has one of like a couple of my favorite scenes as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I think because yeah,
It's like the meat and
yeah.
potato of it all, is what I know. This has
It's
been
all the
appetizing.
angst and the build up. Yeah.
Right.
It's everything about YA I love, and then the third part is young adult or new adult.
I know I like this book more than the first one because there's not nearly as many sticky notes and I don't have as much to say about it. I have more to say when I'm pissed off. This book didn't really. Other than that first half, all that bullshit pissed me off, and then I just remember I was like in awe of the rest of it. So there
Yeah,
was
then
no
you're just
thoughts. I
binging
was,
it.
yeah, I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's going to be the end here for this episode. Catch us in the next one, whenever that will be. Bye.
Bye.